This is the second episode of our Bedrock series, and in this episode we're going to be designing an iron farm for the survival world. I've been working on this design for about 1 day now, but we need to go make a new one since this one is flawed in a few ways. The first flaw is that it's built in an ocean biome, which is a simple fix. This ruins the rates and causes lag, because it needs to spawn in the fish and the items are just chewing on the ground. The second thing that's not good is that these cats are able to roam freely without dying, which I would rather have them die and we could collect string from them. I don't especially like the idea of having a sweeper, as the iron golems would spawn on this edge, be pushed in from the water, and then swept away. I feel like we could improve that by just having an all-water spawning platform. I would like to move the villagers to be level with this platform, and maybe try to get a level underneath where iron golems can spawn. And I think that's about it. So what I'm gonna do is move into that direction and work on a new design. So I came up with this design, which is one out of the ocean, so no fish should spawn here, and it should help with the lag and rates a little bit. Two, I have it floated way above the world. I think the more we can get it out of the way of the world, the better the rates would be, because then less mobs would spawn down here. And if we needed to, we could light up this area and some caves nearby, just to help with the mob cap and rates, since it's 200 for everyone on the server. So, so I have a spawning platform under the beds here, where I hope iron golems can spawn. And if they can spawn here, I want to try moving this down another block maybe, so they could spawn under beds as well. What else? I have these gates here to see if iron golems will spawn in them, because we'll need them to move the golems around or flush them away. I know they can spawn in water, but I want to know if they're allowed to spawn in these gates here, because that actually help. So as you saw, one just spawned and it died immediately, and then right where it spawned I have command block set up so that it marks the area. So I'm going to leave this running for about an hour or two and have all these areas marked out so I can get a feeling of where they can and can't spawn. And I also have a counter over there to get an initial reading of what kind of rates we're looking at. So I'm doing that for villagers or golems and cats, and I'm gonna reset them and do a 2-hour run right now. Came back with some positive yet interesting results. First thing I want to note is they can spawn in the fence gates, which is good. That's what we want. The rates were fixed. I'm pretty happy with the rates. They cannot spawn on glowstone. I assume that's because it's a transparent type of block, and a few spawned in air. Not quite sure what that's about. Maybe because there was already quartz there or something. One actually spawned, or a few somehow spawned in here. So I guess the beds don't count as an obstruction. So what I did to avoid this is just put a roof over the villagers' heads and lit it up so monsters can't spawn. And that seemed to fix the issue. Also, no mobs spawned under the spawning platform and no mobs over. And also no iron golems in the north side. And I also noticed this in the other build as well, that iron golems don't like to spawn north, I guess? Or in the positive X direction. At this older farm, you see these redstone blocks indicating where golems spawn instead of quartz. And on the north side, nothing. So I'm wondering what that's all about. So apparently it was just a weird spawning algorithm mix-up where they just like spawning the south side more than the north side, but for sake of symmetricalness, yes, symmetricalness, I'm gonna keep both sides the same. I moved the glowstone lamps up so they can still spawn, and the area stays lighted because I don't want mobs to spawn. Added the water flowing lines, and if a golem spawns here, I know it may not look like it, but they are 2 blocks wide, so they're bound to be moved by one of these, and then they just get transported to a simple killing chamber, and we can collect their stuff. It's really that easy. So I think this is the final design. I made sure all of this stuff is spawn proofed, and I'm gonna sit up here for 30 minutes, disable these, or I'm gonna sit up here for let's see, 2.5 hours and see how much iron we get. And 2.5 hours turned into 40 hours. I made some improvements while AFKing to make sure that cats don't get stuck between these slabs and that they all fall down into the lava pit properly. And I found an issue where cats were able to spawn under these beds. Blocks there, but you can just remove these blocks. And the general consensus is that get 26 ingots per hour with this farm. So I think that these rates would be improved on the server after we raise it to height limit or 240 and we actually do a proper test, because I'm just speeding up the game time, which may ruin the calculations of iron golem spawning. Revisions were made. I removed half of the glowstone and assigned one villager to every bed, and that seemed to help with the rates quite a bit. So we're getting 4 more iron per hour for a total of 30, around 30 iron per hour, which is what I was aiming for in the beginning. And after we do a proper test instead of just speeding up the game time, I think we'll get around 32, 33. So the next thing we need to do is build this in survival. And it is done in survival. So, yeah, I just remade it. I added a spawning space in the corners of the villager holding area, so that should help with rates. And it's pretty much 1-to-1 of the original. I got rid of the glowstone since I'll be AFKing here and no monsters can spawn, since they have to be 24 blocks away. The edges are still spawn proof though. I didn't put lava in the north corner because nothing will spawn there anyway, and it seems to be holding true. So I AFK'd while I worked today. Just came back, got 12 here, 47 here. Oh wow. So 2.5 stacks. Not bad. That's pretty good. I was disconnected from the server. I don't know what time. I don't know why. But for being disconnected, 2.5 stacks isn't bad. And I'm definitely gonna AFK overnight, basically every night, because I love my iron. I also have to keep breeding these villagers. I have like I don't know. I have like 11 in there, but I want to get 22, one for every bed. So I've just been growing carrots, and I'm gonna keep doing that. And then the next episode, I think we're gonna build a blaze farm with all this new iron we have.